discussion, Janelle Brown, Watch Me Disappear. I want to talk about the book, also relate the book to the business. Like I usually do in book discussions, I try to relate it to the business, even though I'm aware of the danger of doing that. I don't want to see everything through the lens of the hedge fund business. But since this podcast is the main purpose of this podcast is to give people a sense for what it feels like to run a hedge fund. And I've stated many times that reading is almost the conditioning that we need to do as hedge fund managers to keep our brains flexible and strong. And therefore, reading is essential. So I'm doing these book reviews as part of this podcast series. Sometimes, like in this case, the book certainly, this is a novel, this is fiction, it's suspense, it feels like a movie. So there's not a lot of directly applicable skills or knowledge or anything like that. Like, for example, Eric Berger's book about the SpaceX story is really directly applicable to our fund. Now, this is a little bit more remote, but I'm going to try to still draw an arc between the book and the business, like I always try to do. So this is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's April 6, 2021. This is Krim Delco. For the day, the fund is down 20 basis points. The market is down 10 basis points. We're down 0.5%. The market's up 8%. We're underperforming by 8.5%. Janelle Brown wrote a wonderful book, first of all. I think great book, highly recommended reading. Watch Me Disappear. I'm going to give a short synopsis of the book, then explain some of the thoughts, and then do the relation to the business. So this is a story about a mother. She lives in Berkeley, California. She's dead. So the story starts with the daughter having visions of seeing her dead mother. The mother went on a hike in the desolation wilderness in the Sierra Nevada. She probably did the Tahoe Trail, and she disappeared. She couldn't be found. Her husband, Jonathan, and her daughter, Olive, are the two main characters in the book. And the book is about their relationship between each other. And the book also has flashbacks back to when Billy, the mother, was still alive. The book has a lot of suspense. I don't want to, of course, give anything away here. But I think I can say that there is serious doubt that Billy is actually dead. So there's the search of her husband and her daughter for the wife that supposedly is dead, but maybe is not dead. And part of the story is how Jonathan is trying to get a death certificate to cash in a life insurance and go on with his life, etc. So there is a lot of tense moments, a lot of relationship moments, and a lot of daughter, father, daughter type stuff. There's a lot of Berkeley here, some Bay Area, but mainly Berkeley stuff. So as a resident of San Francisco, I'm obviously drawn towards these things. No matter what, I think reading a book that plays in contemporary San Francisco Bay Area, I know Berkeley pretty well, actually. My son trains in Oakland a lot, and I drive there a lot and spend time while I'm waiting for him. So I know some of the coffee shops. I hang out. Even during COVID times, it was possible to hang out there a little bit, get a sense for Oakland, actually more Oakland than Berkeley, but I also have a good sense for Berkeley. I did visit the university quite a lot before the lockdowns, so conferences and stuff like that. So, and I have a lot of respect for UC Berkeley as a university, as a state university, which is really a great achievement. So having said all of that, I think let me just talk a little bit about the book. Again, so there is the husband who is actually writing a book about his relationship with his supposedly dead wife. And he kind of, through the book, starts doubting his thoughts and his feelings. And the daughter is very straightforward. She's a teenager, so she has, of course, some of the teenage positives and negatives, I would say, that come with the age. So she's determined. She doesn't listen to anybody. She wants to find her mother. She doesn't care. She skips school. She has problems with her friends and stuff like that. She's very determined. While Jonathan, he is more of a, let's say, he's the, and this is a nice segue actually also into one of the other nice pictures that Janelle Brown draws here, which is this, I think, beautiful picture of the Bay Area, in particular the East Bay, of establishment and bohemianism. I think this is probably, that's why she chose the characters and the location. I mean, Berkeley and the East Bay is the perfect setting for this. So we have Jonathan, Stanford grad. He's kind of in Silicon Valley, not really. He's not a tech guy. He's a journalist, but he writes for a tech magazine. So he's embedded in all this value creation, wealth creation. He's a workaholic. He has all these traits that a typical West Coast Bay Area type person would have. And the wife is a former bohemian, really hardcore. Without revealing too much, I can say that she was almost an eco-terrorist at some point, and she marries Jonathan and turns into this Berkeley mom. So there's this tension, of course, between this bohemian and this workaholic, and then the Berkeley mom, the perfect mom with the cookies, the Easter cookies, and the soccer and whatnot. I mean, all that stuff that she's not a Marin County mom, a helicopter mom. This is inside baseball here now, but we do joke about the Marin people as being way more obsessed with their kids than even we are here in San Francisco or the people in Berkeley. But there's definitely this disease of living vicariously through your kids, seeing your success reflected in your kids, or your lack of success reflected in the ambitions that your kids are supposed to have. All of that stuff is still very prevalent in the book, and Janelle draws a really nice picture there. So then the story goes on. There is the search for Billy. Basically, this book is about the search for the physical person, and also, of course, the search for who was Billy, who actually was Billy. And now I want to segue into my thoughts about this book. This book is about love. I think first and foremost, it is about love. What is love? And you love a person. Love is, of course, in the eye of the beholder by definition. But so there's no absolute thing called love. Love is a very Popperian thing, actually, like everything else. This is David Deutsch. Actually, he even mentions that I think beauty, for example, has a Popperian character to it, and love has the same way. So we work ourselves through the emotions in developing love, and that's what Jonathan is doing. He starts with great love, then he goes towards maybe less so, and then he ends actually the book in a very good place. Again, I don't want to give away too much, but there is a search for love. There is trying to replace the feelings that you have with better feelings, trying to solve problems around love. All these things. It's a very tense novel about love, and that I think is very interesting in this Janelle Brown novel, which is that we don't have this romantic love story here. This is a tense search for love through a person that actually doesn't live anymore, and her husband. And that is really a wonderful, I think, picture, and a wonderful setup, a very creative setup. And I think it shows also that we are very malleable when it comes to our emotions. We do have certain moral instincts. This is right, this is wrong. Of course, The Righteous Mind, the book I read about this particular aspect of our emotions and our moral judgments, in the same way, I think we have a very quick way to understand this is somebody we love, this is somebody we hate. But then, even though we have that, we still are in need of deep search, deep understanding of what is it really we love about this person. Why are we loving this person? And it also reflects ourselves. Like, how can I love this person if he or she is the way she is? And I would say in this case, Billy is an asshole. She's not a nice person. Billy is a woman that you don't want to love, but Jonathan loves her. And this whole book is about his search for reasons, and search for also mistakes that he might have made by loving her. Again, he ends up in a good place. So this is not a drama or anything like that. Nobody dies, other than, of course, the supposed death of the wife in the beginning of the story. But there's no killing or revenge or jealousy, and none of that stuff is happening. These are very civilized people, the characters of this book. So what does this all mean? I think first and foremost, the beginning of Infinity, which is kind of trying to paint a picture of humans having explanatory power and knowledge, and love is part of that. Love is like math, love is like art, love is like physics. We have to learn to love, and we have to learn to understand what it is we love, and replace thoughts that maybe are not so good with better thoughts. So it's the same thing, it's in the eye of the beholder, and we are evolving as people and getting better at understanding love and loving. And this book really reminds me of all these aspects. I think on a different note, I think the book is also about, like I said, Billy is an asshole. There are bad people out there, and you can love them or hate them, but you need to be aware that they exist. There are people, in the case of Billy, she doesn't take prisoners. She goes for what she wants. She takes what she gets. There is no trust in her. She lies. There is a scene in the book where a flashback where she has a conversation with her husband, and the husband says, "How do we know who we love?" And Billy answers, "Well, we don't really do. We don't know. We think we know, but we don't know." And then Jonathan remembers that conversation and really understands that, look, his wife actually told him, "Listen, you don't know me." So this is important. Important for us as humans in our relationship, also, of course, important as an investor. You never really know who you can trust, and you never know what you're investing in. You have a certain picture, and you can get better at it, but you never really know. I think this is important. I think a final thought here, I want to just say that in the end, everybody in this novel ends up in the right place. And this is a nice ending. I think this is not a dramatic end of world kind of drama story. It is an evolution. People fight for what they stand for their love, and then they end up in the right place after going through all this. And I think this is probably the most important takeaway of the book that I took, which is, look, I have to make an effort. I have to try to have a family. I have to try to love my wife. I have to love my children. I have to work on this. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, then I have to also be okay with that. And I have to do the right thing, and I have to keep going, and I have to do the right thing as far as, of course, the law is concerned, but also my morals are concerned. But there are things you can't control. And in this case, for example, Billy was not controllable. She did what she had to do. She ended up doing the right thing, even though it looks like she didn't do a good thing to people. She did the right thing, and the end of the book is very clear about that. Thank you.